So welcome back to Agents Unfiltered,
where we discuss the do's, the don'ts, and the what the fucks of real estate.
And today we're going to talk about how to be the winning offer. And if you are a realtor in this current market, you know that it is absolutely brutal out there. It is a bloodbath for buyers.
It is.
It's a rough go.
It's rough.
It is.
And we are all right now working with buyers and fighting to get them the house. And so we just want to talk a little bit about what we found to help our buyers win.
Yeah. Here's some foolproof ways to never fail, because we never have. And we know the best way to do everything.
Always.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I feel like there's so much too in the setup. Like, I really feel like maybe we could talk about the setup first, because buyers know it's bad. They know it's tough out there, but they don't really grasp how frustrating and discouraging it can be.
Yes.
And so I think before we even get into the whole like actual offer structure, just setting our buyers up. Like, I know I tell my clients a lot, do not fall in love with the house.
Don't fall in love with the house.
Enjoy it.
Yes.
Like, you can be like, okay, I like
Envision
this.
how it could work for you, but also hold it loosely, because the reality, I always tell my buyers right now, you're probably not going to get the first house you offer on. It's going to take some fails to get a win. And so just setting them up to know, like, okay, this is going to be tough. It's going to take some endurance. You know, that really helps them not then be so disappointed. And they're still going to be disappointed, but it just takes the sting off.
Because once they start moving themselves into the home, that's when it kind of is all downhill if they don't get it. So, you know?
Yeah. And I think a huge thing too, especially with first-time home buyers, is they're so nervous to make that first offer because they know it's probably not going to be accepted. And then it stops them from making offers. I got to the point with my clients where when I see nerves happening, I'm like, listen, I've had clients in the past where they didn't jump on a property because they were a little nervous. And then you can't promise that something like that is going to come on after that. Don't let fear stop you from making the move, because it's going to be yes or it's going to be no, but it's always going to be a no if you don't just go for it, right? So just take the leap, rip off the Band-Aid. And then honestly, I think we've all had this conversation after buyers get turned down for the first time. It's like a whole new person. Like, they're ready to go. They're like, okay, let's do this. We've been through it. We know the scenario, and that kind of fear goes away.
Yeah. And to use it as like a teaching opportunity. Like, okay, especially if you can reach out to the other agent and say, okay, so what were the other offer, or what was the winning offer like? You know, they're probably not going to tell you about all the offers, but maybe they'll give you some insight on the offer. Was it just price? Was it a cash offer? Was it, no inspection? Like, where did we misstep so we didn't get it? And then it's great because you can go back to your clients and say, listen, here's why we lost out, and discuss with them, like, is that something they're willing to negotiate? Maybe they're not, you know, maybe it was, they waived inspection, and your clients are a VA buyer or FHA and have very little cash down and don't have the ability to waive inspection, because what if something's really wrong? Well, then maybe we need to adjust looking at homes that are newer. Or maybe, there's just so many different options. But I think that it's so good to use those experiences as teaching moments on, okay, let's really hone in on where's your comfort level.
Right.
And then they're thinking about it.
Yeah. I've had a buyer recently that, you know, we lost out on a couple, but then they were willing to bring more to the table. You know, like, they learned pretty quickly, okay, these things are going to help me win out. And then we're able to do that, you know? And so.
And then also with the, getting clients to look at homes, you know, not a lot of homes are sitting in this market, but there are some. And sometimes it's because of bad pictures.
Yes, I was going to bring that up, because I had a client that their price range was really tight, and they were using a down payment assistance loan. And so it was hard to get them to win on anything. But this listing came on that had just terrible pictures that, you know, just, there were only a few of them, and the quality wasn't great, and it just made the house look really awful. And I was like, let's just go look at it. Let's go look at it. And it was a really cute house that hit their needs. And we ended up winning out, because I think a lot of people are scared to go look at houses if they don't look pretty. I had another one that a client didn't want to go see because of the color on the outside and the pictures of the inside. And they ended up falling in love with the house and getting it. And so, you know, like, encouraging our clients, even if, okay, you really want all of these things, it doesn't have one of those things, or the pictures look terrible, let's go look at it. And then if you hate it,
you can't rule anything out in this market.
You can't rule anything out in this market, because you just never know what you're going to love.
Also deciphering, like, when people are first looking at homes, I think in their head, it's such a big purchase. It has to be perfection. It has to hit all their boxes. It has to be this big grand thing. When in reality, your first home, that's your equity home.
Yeah.
That's, where you start making memories, where you learn a lot of lessons, where, you do a lot of growth, but it's not your forever home.
Yeah.
So, take that in stride, realize like, oh, okay, I might not be able to fit a king bed in this room.
Right.
But I think I'll survive because that's my end goal, right? Like it's all taking steps to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that your starter home is just one of those steps, and it doesn't have to be perfection,
Yeah.
Nothing's perfect in the beginning.
Nope. No. And I think sometimes when we get clients like those, that really are like, it has to be hit all these boxes, they get discouraged really quick and are like, you know what, we're just going to wait till the market calms down. I feel like we've heard that a lot over the last couple of years. I feel like, especially last year, people really had a hard concept or hard time believing that they were going to have to offer 20, 30, 40, 50,000 over asking price. This year, it feels like buyers are willing to throw a lot more. Just they're willing to throw it all, let's just get the house. But when you get those people that get really discouraged and decide to wait, I think a lot of that comes down to education. Our market doesn't look like it's slowing. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. When I started, interest rates were 6.5%. That changes a lot of what buyers can afford. And so the compensation between interest rate and house prices, if they're buying at a lower interest rate, it doesn't matter if they're paying more because when interest rates go up, which they're already starting to do, then it's taking away their buying power. And so I think having those conversations with clients too, not to push clients into something they're not ready to do, because I never am game for that.
Right.
But when clients really want it, we, over the last couple of years, we've definitely have people that have now gotten priced out of the market. And if they had just made concessions a couple of years ago, they would have been in a home and they wouldn't still be renting and they would be building equity. And unfortunately, they wanted to wait till the market calmed down and they can't afford it anymore.
And knowledge is power. And our job as agents is to make sure our clients have all the information so that they can then make an informed decision. And sometimes that means telling them things that they don't want to hear, and we never want to come across as pushing them into anything or pressuring them, but we also want them to be able to make their dreams become a reality. Like we want to make them be able to get to a place where they can hit their goal. And so if they then have the knowledge and decide not to, at least we did everything we could to empower them to make a decision. And then it's their choice.
So I feel like a great way to empower people is to bully them. This is how I've gotten a few of my clients. 10 out of 10 do not recommend. It just works for some people. One of my clients right now, given we have like a past relationship because, I bartended and I worked, while he would come in. So we have a past relationship where we know each other's humor, know whatever. But my favorite is, you'll be at the grocery store randomly and people will know you're in real estate and they're like, oh my gosh, would love to use you one day. But, I'm cheap and it's just not the market for me right now. And usually I'll just let it go off my back because, I'm like trying to find the best avocado. And I'm like, right now is not, the right time. And then there's times where people say it and I'm like, I'm in the mood to fight today. Let's do this. So my buddy, he made that comment to me. He goes, I'm a frugal bastard, Allie. And I was like, well, it's not really showing because look at this trend. Look at this trend. Like if you really are frugal and you really are as cheap as you say you are, you better get in now or else you're going to be kicking yourself. So, I mean, sometimes people need that extra nudge because I mean, it's such a cliche saying, but you don't know what you don't know. And there's so much information being thrown at you by, the media and funny memes and, the
and
scary
your uncle
news.
who
oh my gosh,
knows real estate
expert and the market's going to crash in this many months. And then you can buy a house for half the price.
Yeah. And so this guy just actually told me, he goes, my mom said this, my mom said that. I was like, I would love to sit down with your mother. Let's get coffee.
Let me explain the market to them.
It's so true though. And you get so many opinions, even in a market that's not as crazy as it is today. We all have had clients where it's like, oh, well, my brother told me this or whatever. And it's hard to combat that, obviously, because that person's a trusted source for them.
Totally.
It's harder when it's someone close to them as opposed to the media, but it's difficult when the advice is not accurate. And so it's like, you don't want to disparage that person.
No, not at all.
But you also, to do our job for our clients, we have to really explain to them how the market really is. And I think that that's perfect. You really have to dig in sometimes with clients and really explain. And there's going to always be differing opinions in real estate, always, you know, but it's historically has never been a bad time to buy.
No.
Yeah. Because we're always seeing that inflation and we're seeing that increase in price and building equity. And if you want to build wealth in this country, home ownership is honestly the foot in the door.
It is.
And so
it really is.
And it's hard when people get priced out because the pricing is skyrocketing. Yep. So, so I wanted us to talk a little bit about, the actual structure of the loan, but before that, or not loans, the structure of the contract.
Right.
But before that, like also how we deal with list agents, because I know our office does a fabulous job of not necessarily always winning out because of our relationship with other agents, but we definitely have like a leg up.
We do.
And I think that that's really helpful. You know, sometimes we'll have agents who are like, you know what? I know you're the agent who's going to get it done. I know that you'll get this to closing.
Yes.
And so I told my clients that. And sometimes we win offers that way.
Yeah.
But even outside of that, like agents that we don't know, I think your level of professional care and your standard of care is so telling for even as for us as list agents, right? Like when we have agents that come at us and have a certain level standard of care, we're more likely to want to work with them, and we feel more confident in their ability to actually get it. Because on the flip side of all these offers, right? We also are seeing more and more offers fall apart after mutual acceptance than average.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I don't know how many times in writing so many offers for clients, I've been told by the list agent, thank you so much for writing a clean offer.
Yeah.
Like when you're writing up an offer and sending it to another agent, if you have everything well organized, all the documents
are so flattering. That's like one of the best compliments.
It is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've heard that so much this year of like, thank you so much for submitting a clean offer. And we have been so well trained in our office to how to write a clean offer. Right. What does that look like? You have everything filled out properly. It's everything's organized. It's all there. You don't have random documents that aren't needed mixed in, you know? And so I think coming forward with a clean offer, even though they're not going to pick the offer based on which one looks the best, the agent that's representing the seller is going to have more confidence in you if you submitted a clean offer.
Yeah. Also, in this industry, if you are an agent who picks up their darn phone, you are already doing better than 80% of the other agents.
It's true. It's true.
Like, there's something about being personable.
Yeah.
Anyone can text, anyone can do whatever, but picking up the phone and creating that relationship where you're not just words behind a screen makes you an actual person to the list agent. And they hear the inflection of your voice. They kind of get to know like how you carry a conversation. It's not just reading words and reading it in their own voice in their head. You will create a relationship and be someone that they remember versus just another phone number in their phone that they deleted right after.
Yes.
You know?
And on the flip side of that, on the other side of that coin, not being too needy.
Yes.
Because think about it, when you're a list agent and you have, 15 offers and 60 showings and you have all this stuff going on, this is how I feel personally. I want to deal with agents. I want to definitely be able to text or talk to them on the phone and be like, okay, they have it together. I can get a hold of them. They're communicative, but I don't want to be inundated by that agent. Because I have had some agents who will call and call and call and call. If I don't pick up, they're calling me again. And I'm like, stop. I have so much going on with the offer on this house. And so I feel like there's definitely a fine line of being personable. 100%. Picking up your phone. Communicating, explaining, like if your clients really want the home and they're willing to go over, explain that. Like, hey, this is our best offer, but if you can let me know something else we can do, we're willing to do it. Like, it's just working in collaboration, right?
Right.
But then also not like, I don't want to say bullying. That's not the right term, but really, inundating the other agent.
Then it just is not. And I think like having a conversation, it is being a nuisance.
It is. And some agents can definitely do that.
I think calling an agent before you even write up your offer and saying, my clients love the house. What can we do to strengthen our offer? Is there a preferred close date your people have? You know, and just ask them that, and then send a clean offer, communicate before, and then just let it
sit.
Let it sit.
Mm-hmm.
Let it sit. You've communicated. They've heard your voice. You've asked them, like, what can we do to tailor this to your client's needs?
And then if they have questions,
they can reach out
and answer right away.
Exactly.
Be on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And also not changing little things. This is something as a list agent drives me insane. When, you know, little things that if you know you're competing, why are you changing?
Yes.
Closing agent. Stuff like that. It's not that the buyers can't choose who they want, but unless there's a reason of why you're trying to change a title company or whatever, don't, you know, if you want your client to win,
make it smooth.
Make it smooth. You know, don't change little things that are unnecessary. No. You know, I feel like sometimes agents get really in that of like 99% of the time their client's not asking to change it. It's whoever their connection is. Great. We all have those connections. Also, if you're competing with all these offers, that's not something I would go and change.
No, it doesn't help.
So,
it doesn't help.
Yeah.
I've noticed, and I mean, maybe you can correct me on this, maybe you feel differently about it, but obviously everyone's there to protect their client, and that's our first priority. But our second priority is just getting it to close. And I feel like there's so many agents where, you know, they want to be there for their clients that they'll become combative, where at the end of the day, you don't need to get aggressive for your client. You need to become solution oriented and make it smooth. And there's a lot of agents where I feel like they don't have that line there, and we're about making a smooth transaction and getting it to close. And you want to do anything you can to keep it smooth, even if you are feeling a certain way or there is a certain issue. You need to learn how to handle the problems in a way where you're not putting anything in jeopardy.
Yes, absolutely. Because if we ruin a deal for our clients because of our personality or our ego getting involved, that is a huge disservice to our clients. That does not fall under the fiduciary duty we owe our clients. And so I absolutely,
and at the end of the day, you know, there's so many agents where they get hot and they'll be like, but I was protecting you. And it's like, okay, well, that may have been the initial thing, but how you go about protecting them is just as important, and you need to get that under lock. You know?
Absolutely.
And you can advocate for your client without being a bitch or without, you know, like there's
say it without being a straight up dick.
Like you can advocate for them in an appropriate way where you're trying to make sure that their needs are met while still maintaining a positive relationship with the other agent.
And a professional relationship. You know,
and you're likely going to, you know, if you're really in this business, this is the one thing that I've really found is you're crossing paths with the same other agents that are really in the business over and over again. And so if you're burning those bridges and having issues in your deals, they're not going to want to work with you. You're not caring for your client, and you're also kind of shooting yourself in the foot for future deals.
Absolutely. And you get a reputation, good or bad. You know, in our area, I would say we have probably about 2,800 agents right now. Which is a lot. We used to have back during the recession about 11 or 1,200. So it's gone up a lot in the recent years. You know, it's a huge influx of agents. But you see probably about the top third, you know, 800 agents doing the most deals, you know, constantly you see their names. And so it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. You're constantly showing the same agent, like homes that are listed by the same agents or working with the same agents with buyers. And if you communicate well and get back to them after showings and you let them know when they have questions about a home that your clients didn't like, you just form those relationships. And it's really important.
Yes, where then you're excited to see their name come across your desk in an offer of like, I just worked with you and I'm so excited I get to work with you again. You know?
And you know how they work. And you know they're going to take care of their clients and you're going to take care of yours. And it's, I feel like oftentimes it can become a battle and it doesn't need to be. It's unnecessary. And it creates a lot of drama. And really at the end of the day, usually our clients are harmed because of it. If that's how you approach it. So, and the other thing we see, I know Washington State, I don't know other states, but Washington State, there was a whole big thing about love letters. And they were about to kind of rule. There was a bill, I guess, brought forth that was going to take love letters out of being able to write love letters, right? And they did pass that bill, but they took that verbiage out. So as of now, you can still write love letters. They can be very controversial.
They can.
I think they I don't know. Tell me your thoughts. I have a lot of issues back and forth with it,
so hard because you're dealing with fair housing, right? Like you have
potentially
you could be. And so like, especially like including pictures, like never include pictures. Like you never want to include pictures. And it can be such a dicey line to walk. And it's hard because I have had clients win out because of a letter they included with their offer. And in this market, you want every leg up you can get.
Right.
It's tricky to navigate.
Well, then let's also talk about how there's plenty of homes being sold where it's not all about the end dollar amount for them.
Yes.
They raised a family in this home. They gave 30 years of their lives to this home.
Right.
They want to know that someone is taking it over that's, gonna fill it with just as much love that they did. So it's like, yes, it's about money at the end of the day, but that's not everyone's just sole thing that they care about.
Yeah.
So that's where love letters kind of come into play too, is you can get a feel for who's going to be taking over your home if that's the kind of attachment you have to your home.
Yeah.
So I think it's great in that sense because there's a lot of people who may not have the highest offer, but they're going to treat that home better than the person with the highest offer.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like,
it's hard. And I had a seller once. They had this like beautiful old Victorian home, and we got a bunch of offers, and they ended up taking a lesser offer because of a letter from someone who loved the house because of the history. And that for them was so important that someone was going to come in and honor the history of this home. And so that they took a lesser offer because of it, And so,
and you never know. I mean, I had divorce clients who took offer $50,000 less because of a quick close and no inspection.
Yes.
So you just don't know what's going to trigger it.
What's going to trigger it.
And I think at the end of the day, it's important to ask, okay, so if you're on the selling side, you ask your clients, do they want letters?
Yes.
If they get letters, are they going to look at those letters? I think that's important to have that conversation with our clients before we start getting offers at the listing. Yes. And on the buy side, I think it's important to ask the other agent, are you guys accepting letters?
Yes.
And if they aren't, and your client still wants to submit one, we owe it to our clients to do what they want to do.
Exactly.
But it gives an option. I've had some sellers who say, that's just a manipulation. Yeah. I don't want to look at love letters at all. Right. Then I've had some where I've said, hey, you have a couple of these letters. Do you want to look at them? And they're like, I don't know. It's already such a hard decision. Yes. I feel like then I'm going to feel really bad. And they just don't want to.
Exactly.
And so I've had it where I'm like, okay, well, I haven't read them either.
Yeah.
If you don't want to read them, we'll wait,
yes.
make your decision. And then if you want to see them afterwards, you can see them. And so that's kind of how it's played out for me a few times, but we really have to let our clients take the directive
100%,
or ask the list agent, if we're on the buy side, will they take them? Because sometimes it offends them more than anything else.
Exactly. And you don't want to then shoot yourself in the foot on that side.
And so I think it all goes back to communication.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
Thinking of love letters. And luckily it was, the highest and just cleanest and best offer on the home.
Yeah.
But my last seller is this gruff, tough, blue collared man, just doesn't care about anything, yada, yada, and biggest teddy bear on the inside, like they all are. And there was a love letter that came with this offer. And he scoffed. He was like, people write letters with homes now. Like, what is this? I got a call like 20 minutes later. And he goes, that letter kind of got to me. I'm like, I freaking knew it.
Yep.
There's a heart in there. But fortunately for him, it all came together because it was the best offer combined with it. So it was a feel good.
Yes.
Yeah. It makes sense. And, I think we really have to caution your clients when they're writing them too.
Yes.
Do not put information that could be a fair housing violation.
No, yes.
Make sure as a buyer's agent you're reading through it to make sure it doesn't create any of those
even if
issues.
I've had clients before where I've told them not to include a picture and there's a picture attached, and so I have to cut that out when I send it because I'm not going to put them in a position, us in a position that we are violating fair housing.
Yeah.
Right. So
we can't do that.
No.
So outside of that, obviously one of the biggest things that wins offers is down payment.
Yes.
And a lot of times we have clients who don't have a huge down payment.
Yeah.
So just creative ways to access additional funds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Pulling from 401ks is a big one.
Winning the lottery.
If only.
Yeah. And I think, obviously like the appraisal addendums, I don't know if the form is different in different states. For us, it's the 22 AD. is huge right now for winning offers. If they can maybe put a little bit less down and then have additional funds available to come in if the appraisal comes in low, I think that is massively helpful because prices are coming in over ask basically every time. Having that additional that will then bring it up if the appraisal comes in low
is better than having more down payment.
It's better than having more down.
Yeah, if they're able to
I think
work
like
that.
explaining that well to your clients and, you know, like explaining to them, this could be what wins or loses a house for you. So is it worth it for you to put less down or to, you know, potentially like pull from your 401k or pull from your, you know, where you still feel comfortable enough that you have the money that you need, but also can be more competitive and what that looks like for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's very important because, and, or, you know, gifts from family.
Gifts from family is a big one.
You know, anywhere else that they're willing to, that maybe, hopefully they don't have to.
Yeah.
But if you need to, do you have that backup plan? And, just because sometimes that's what's needed. So the other thing that I'm dealing with in a deal right now, so I'll keep everyone posted on how it actually goes.
I'm so curious.
And I'm not going to name the lending company because I will see how it goes first. But I would love to know if anyone else has also dealt with this. There are a few companies out there now that will approve your clients, and then the lender will actually make the offer to purchase the home as a cash offer.
Yes.
Right? And then they close on it, and then the other client and then once you close, because it's a cash offer, they can close it super fast.
Yeah.
Then your client finishes up the process and ends up purchasing it again from the other agent. You don't get paid your commission until that second portion happens. But it's a really creative way to circumvent clients who maybe don't have, that are either contingent.
Yeah, contingent
which
is so
is
hard right
You're
now.
just kind of out right now.
Yeah.
So hard.
You think FHA and VA are hard? Try being contingent.
No.
It's a struggle. Or, and or they don't have the down, like they're FHA or VA, and they don't have the additional cash to win out. So I'm curious. I'll keep you guys posted on how it goes.
I'm so curious about that.
So far, it's pretty
been
smooth.
nice.
But yeah, it's interesting to see the new practices that lenders are coming up with to help clients win homes. And I don't know how long it's going to stick around. I wonder when the market does eventually change, if that's going to take everything down. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So,
well, and I think we're feeling the tension from lenders too. I mean, I've had lenders recently that are representing my clients say, like, what can I do to help my clients win out on these deals? Because they're seeing their clients too losing out again and again. And so I think that lenders are trying to find creative ways of how can we get our people into homes, because
absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm excited about programs like these that can benefit our buyers, and it's interesting to see how they'll play out and if they'll stick once things maybe settle a little bit.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So, any other thoughts, you guys, on winning out offers? I know there's so many different avenues we can go down with this, but
I mean, what did we hit? Being communicative.
Writing clean offers.
Preparing our clients.
Preparing our clients for the market. I think we pretty much hit everything.
The strategies that you can.
Yeah. I think it's all about finding creative ways, you know?
Oh, we could talk about escalation clauses.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, there's little things that you can do that might not win you the offer every time, but they are making it an edge bit more competitive.
Yes.
Like the 22 AD and the escalation clauses.
And escalations are great. I think the problem that you run into, that I've had clients run into, is an escalation without an appraisal addendum doesn't hold as much weight.
That's
because
true.
if you're willing to escalate and even if you're willing to come in like 50 grand over asking, like I have clients who like offer 50 grand over asking, but didn't have the money.
Great, but will it appraise?
Exactly. And so then, you know, I think that like escalation offers can win out even if there's not the appraisal addendum, but I think having those two together, it makes such a strong offer.
Really does.
If they have the funds available to do that.
Right.
Well, and here's another thing before we end this episode.
Yes.
Because I know we've all done this before. We've all chatted with other agents or had ins because of social media or whatever, right? Another part of having relationships with other agents and being out there and in the community is that you hear about homes coming on before they actually come on.
Oh, 100%.
And even though we can't have pocket listings, at least in our, we're not allowed to here, we get the like in right before it hits the market. And the positive with that is sometimes sellers they would rather take, as long as your clients are prepared to make a really good offer,
to make a really strong
sometimes they're
offer.
willing to take an offer right when it hits the market or right before so that they don't have to deal with 60 showings in 2 days. And they're willing to do it. And I think that just goes back to that relationship piece.
Yes. If you're communicating and have a good relationship with other agents, and you can reach out to your pool and say, I have this client that's looking for this, you know, and then be ready to jump in if there is something that's coming on that may work for them.
Yeah. It all goes back to that competitive collaboration that we deal with every day in real estate. So I think it's, if you can hone in on one thing, that would probably be it, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
I think we covered it.
Next week, we're going to be talking about when and how to fire a client. So that should be an interesting one. I feel like
an interesting one.
We'll have lots to say about that. Sometimes it goes better than others.
Sometimes it goes better. And in the interim, may the odds be ever in your favor as you're fighting for deals with your buyers.
Yes.
We hope that this was helpful to you.
And we'd love to hear your stories too. Or if you have any other takes on what is helpful in your area or what's helping you win out, we would love to hear because, again, this is a great place to collaborate. And different parts of the country. Yeah, we would love, follow us. We are on TikTok and Instagram, both at Agents Unfiltered. So find us there.
Send us a message.
Be our friend.
Tag us in a post. We would love to hear what you're doing as well, because the more that we can support each other, the more that we can all just
rise
be successful
and rise as an industry.
Exactly.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.